It's Uganda Matyrs Day tomorrow, June 3rd, and all roads are leading to Namugongo. If anything is to go by the statements we're getting from the pilgrims, we're likely to have record numbers in 2025. Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to the show on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners, and all our pilgrims who have made it to Namugongo. Tonight we shall be talking about Uganda Matyrs Day from the perspective of three different individuals. From Reverend Father Matyrs Mayanja, we shall also speak to a pilgrim who was able to walk from Buhweju to Kampala and is a member of parliament. We shall also be talking to a member of the Uganda Red Cross Society. We begin with Reverend Father Matyrs Mayanja, Rubaga Cathedral Administrator. Thank you so much for giving time to us to be able to speak to us on KFM radio. You know, tomorrow is such an important day for Uganda. It's Uganda Matyrs Day. But if you were to describe it to people who do not understand it, really, what's the significance of June 3rd as a Matyrs Day for Uganda and for the Catholic Church?
Yeah, first of all, the Uganda Matyrs, before even we go to the spirituality, they have put Uganda on map of the whole world. Everybody in the rest of the world speaks about Uganda because of the faith of the Uganda Matyrs. Secondly, when we see how people are making pilgrimages, coming to Namugongo, walking long distances, and some other flying from all over the world, coming here in Uganda, we must read the signs that is something much more than what we see. There is something, there is a mystery that the faith of the Uganda Matyrs is bearing much fruit. This is why many, many more people are making pilgrimages to Uganda. And lastly, it is a challenge. The Uganda Matyrs challenge us not only to have a faith that is like a service, but to have a faith that bear witness to Christ, both in our words and in our actions. Those people didn't have modern things that like we have today. There was no much social media. There was no phones, no radios, no good means of communication. But they understood the faith at once and they put it into practice. The generation we are having today, though we have so many good things, but people have faith, transmit the faith in their life situation. So we are challenged to embrace the Uganda Matyrs and bear witness to Christ both in our words and in our action. If we do so, I think Uganda will be a better place for us to live in. Thank you.
Reverend Father Matyrs Mayanja, we can see the numbers are increasing every year, but is there also an increase in terms of how you can cater for these pilgrims to cater for their spiritual nourishment and everything that they require so that when they reach Namugongo, it's every year for the Namugongo in terms of facilities to be better than they found it?
I think that is a responsibility not only of the church, the Catholic Church or the Protestant Church in Uganda, but it's the responsibility of the entire nation. The Minister of Tourism, I think, the government must come in like to assist the church to put modern hotels and modern facilities like it is in other countries abroad, which can accommodate pilgrims in their big numbers. It is a challenge to the government because when these people come in, they bring in money. So the Minister of Tourism, I think, is very, very much more responsible. Though the church has done something, but I think we need to work together, the church and the government, to make sure that we provide the necessary facilities to accommodate all pilgrims in a dignified way.
Are people even up today, especially the pilgrims and the faithful, able to share with you sometimes the kind of testimonies about praying to the Matyrs and how the Uganda Matyrs have changed their lives through the acts of faith?
Yeah. They are very coming. I think is a testimony enough to tell that the people get miracles. That's enough. Even if we don't have to ask for so many other things, but they are coming is a testimony, because people cannot simply walk a long distance when they don't have anything to do to take. So there's the action of coming in big numbers. It is a clear sign that something more important that is going on in the lives of the Uganda Matyrs.
Are the Christians of today, whether it's Catholic or Anglican or whoever, as committed as the Christians of yesteryears? I'm saying this, Reverend Father, with a lot of respect, because it looks like people are being taken away by so many things, so many material. It's a country that, yes, we are a big percentage Christian, but also we are the people with the lack of integrity in our own country. How you, as a religious leader, as a faith leader, do you see us trying to follow in the footsteps of Jesus?
The Uganda Matyrs remain a very, very big challenge to us. In spite of the many things that we have today, so many people today are failing to put faith into practice. People's faith, most of the people that we see, their faith is more on lip service. You can see them singing, dancing, going to churches during the day. But when you follow them closely at night or in their private lives, they do the opposite. So I think we need to deepen or to think of other ways of transmitting the gospel so that people can really move away from lip service to be internally and spiritually get transformed. This is what we need today. You see so many people bearing Christian names, but when you closely follow their actions, it is the opposite. So this is a challenge to not only religious leaders, but everybody, to teach catechism and to find ways of deepening people's faith so that their faith can be expressed not only in words but in action. This is what made the Uganda Matyrs what they are. They learned the faith for a very short time, but because they internalized it in their lives, they were able not only to pay lip service to God, but in their action to bear witness to Christ to the point of dying for him.
There was a time, Reverend Father, when a minister in the church would be so much revered. They are still being revered, yes, but there was a time when a minister would be so much revered, so much respected, that when a parish priest or a Bwana
when you talk of the divisions in the church, that is another story. The population today, I would rather say, is not very much responsible for the divisions. These divisions are very, very historical. When you read the information, the Reformation, Renaissance, the rise of many many churches.
Excuse me, Reverend Father, I'm not talking about the division in the church. I said when church ministers would be so revered, so respected, so our leaders in faith, in a way, are they losing the shine? Are they losing the glory? Because there is a difference if you look at it.
Say that again.
There was a time when church ministers, priests would be so much revered, highly regarded. But when you compare today with a lot of respect, it's sort of, some of them are losing the shine on them, like they are falling short of the glory. What could be the problem?
That, I think, it goes back to bearing witness to Christ. Some bear witness to Christ only in word, but others bear witness to Christ in their very actions. Those who bear witness to Christ in the actions, they are still highly respected today. But those who simply pay lip service, they are not respected, and you can see them by their fruit. So if somebody is just talking about Jesus only in words, people will not respect. The actions speak louder than words. Paul said that if modern people are to accept Christ, they will not accept Christ because preachers are very eloquent, but they will accept Christ because they see their actions. Even during the time of the apostles, people became Christians not necessarily because the apostles were preaching eloquently, but more so because they saw how they loved each other, how they treated others, how they prayed together, how they remained united. So it comes back to us today that bearing witness to Christ must not stop on lip service, but it must be in our action, so that people will be renewed, people will get converted much easier when they see the actions rather than listening to rhetoric.
Reverend Father Achilles Mayanja, thank you so much for your submission. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and if anything, for teaching for us to understand more about matters of faith today. We're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back. We are now joined by the Honorable Francis Mwijuche from Buweju. He's among those dignitaries who were able to walk, humble themselves, walk with the ordinary people, and trek great distances to come and be among the pilgrims to come to Namugongo. Honorable Francis Mwijuche, thank you so much for joining us. I have seen the images of you walking along the highways from western Uganda to Kampala. What was your experience, Francis?
Well, walking a pilgrimage is a sacrifice, a spiritual journey that you make and walk in prayer for purposes of your relationship with your God. So we walked together with about 250 other pilgrims from Buweju district, from the parishes of Kashoero, Utare, and Achitoko. My experience is that this is an activity of both the mind and body. It's a spiritual experience, it is psychological, it is also physical. You use your energy. And so, if you're not well prepared, you're not psychologically prepared, you'll not manage it. It's not an easy activity. It's not an easy experience because it has challenges. Challenges of the hot sun, the coldness at night, the rains, being hit by rains, the experiences of bad drivers on the road who don't respect people who are on foot. So all these challenges you have to know that you'll go through them. After all, you're walking in the footsteps of the Uganda Matyrs. The Uganda Matyrs were harassed. They were, beaten, but they were killed for a reason. They knew that they were true to their religion.
I understand, Honorable Francis Mwijuche, you took 9 days with your colleagues, the pilgrims, to trek from Buweju to Kampala. 9 days, that's quite a monumental challenge. Did you first prepare your body for this challenge?
Well, actually, it took 10 days to walk from Buweju to Namugongo. And remember, I am walking for the first time. My first time. This is not the first time I'm walking. Because then you know that the first 3-4 days are painful days. You have experiences of pain on your body. Sometimes you may get emulsions, you may get swellings. But you then know that you reach a time when that will go, and then you continue walking comfortably. So for me, it is something that I prepared for. I prepared myself for. It is something that I prepare for before I move. You need a few painkillers. You need some sprays. Just like you prepare for any other journey or any other activity, what you need on the road. So it is more about your faith, because even when it's hard, because it is an act of faith, because you know what you will achieve, that I know that I'll go through this pain, but my prayer request will be answered, because I have an experience in the past where I have walked and all my prayer requests were answered. So you walk without hesitation, because you really have an experience to refer to.
When I compare, if I'm to compare, yes, with all respect, with you and other people who have come from Buweju, really, look, here is a man who's always driving in an air-conditioned 4x4, probably Land Cruiser, whatever it is. For the body to adjust from a 4x4 air-conditioned car to hitting the road just as by walking more than 300 kilometers, it's unbelievable, even though you achieved it.
Yes, because before God, we are all equal. The God we serve, his ways are different from the ways we look at things. There's no status before him. Whether you're a member of parliament, or you're a president, you're a radio presenter, or you're chairman of sorts, we are all equal before our God. Just like Rahul said, let's be equal before the law. So for me, it's not about status, it's about faith. We will not be judged when we go to meet our Creator. We will not be judged we will not be seen as MPs, as councillors, as businessmen. We will be seen as God's creation, who lived on this world, and how we lived on this world, whether we went by the commandments of God, whether we were faithful, whether we were selfish or not. So for me, it's about that. But also not that in the past people have thought that those who walk are those who have no means. People who walk it's because they can't afford transport by bus or the fuel or drive their car. So my participation also now changes that. Start you realize that instead of driving for 5 hours from Buweju to Kampala, if somebody can walk for 10 days, then it is not about having money for fuel or having a vehicle or having transport money. No, it's about faith. And faith has no class. Faith has no tribe. Faith has no age. Faith is faith.
So how did the other colleagues or other pilgrims you're working with, manage this? Is there anybody who probably couldn't make it? And what was the hardest point of the journey?
Well, first of all, from the onset, I told the other pilgrims that I am a pilgrim just like you. Don't look at me as a member of parliament. I am a pilgrim. 2, I am not the leader of the group. I am walking with you. I am on a pilgrimage. And so they saw me as that. Although as a leader, sometimes you will come in to assist here and there, but I don't want them to see the MP in me. 3, that we work as a team. That if somebody has involved some pain or a challenge, now it is this that we put ahead of us. The sickly, those who are injured, then the elderly, then the young, because we had 13 kids. The youngest was 8 years. So those we put ahead of us and we move behind them. Because we move by their pace now. If we don't do that, we will leave them behind. So, irrespective of the pain somebody has, we share the pain, we move as a team, we move as a group, and so nobody is left behind. And that's why, with teamwork, moving as a team, it becomes easy for us, for all of us, to arrive at Namugongo. Otherwise, if you're left behind, you'll give up. You know, now I can't make it, but we will not allow such a situation to happen. And that's the secret of all of us being able to get to Namugongo, irrespective of the challenges each of us gets on the road.
You know, talking about the roads, Honorable Mwijushe, you know, Ugandan roads are a death trap. There's carnage on our roads. The drivers sometimes drive bad, and some of the roads are also not good. You know, almost every day we lose about 16 people in road accidents. I wonder what your experience is on the road, which we really get scared of, especially the highways.
Well, that is the life we go through. That's the Uganda we are in. When you're on the road, you'll find that a cyclist, somebody with a bicycle, does not respect the person walking on foot. They want to push you off the road. The border cyclist also wants to push off the bicycle rider off the road. That does not respect the bicycle rider. Somebody with a small car, does also not respect the border cyclist. You also find somebody with a Land Cruiser who doesn't respect the one in a Primo. You find that somebody driving a trailer or a bus will not respect somebody driving a Land Cruiser. So at the end of the day, there is a lot of disrespect on the road. However, I think it is by God's grace that you can walk from Buwezu, Kampala without an accident, but also that we get traffic officers amongst ourselves. We appoint amongst ourselves who are in charge of helping us to walk on the road. But also want to thank security. We were able to move alongside the police officers. They will escort you from one point, from one station, and hand over to the next station. All the way from Mbarara up to Namugongo, there's a station. The traffic officers, police traffic officers, will walk with you. They actually on a pilgrimage themselves. Most of them have walked 20 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 10 kilometers. They hand over to the next station. And so we survived the accident. You really see the bad driving on the road. You see the disrespect. You see the accidents happen. We saw some accidents. So by the grace of God, we survived the accident.
Honorable Francis Mwijushe, hold on to your point, sir. We're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back.
To 8 p.m.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. We continue with our discussion with Honorable Francis Mwijushe from Buwezu, who was able to walk with over 250 other pilgrims from Buwezu to Namugongo. Honorable Mwizuche, the Uganda Matters Day, June 3rd, is really becoming a big day, not only in Uganda but across our region. I wonder whether we have been able to leverage as a country on this day in terms of religious tourism, but also to make the area, to be able to accommodate the big numbers in relative comfort. What needs to be done to make it even bigger?
Well, I think government needs to work, the Ministry of Tourism needs to work with the religious leaders in Uganda specifically. Now I am talking about the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church to make sure that Namugongo is highly developed as a religious tourism center. So whereas we look at the spiritual side, that we are coming for prayer, we are coming to do what we do, but also people who come for purposes of tourism. I've seen that happen in the Vatican. The millions of people go to the Vatican, and the Vatican gets a lot of money from the tourists. I've seen that happen in Israel. Millions of people go to Israel and live there, lots of money. I think we have not done that as a country, and we are missing out. And the area we did that, the better for us to exploit this big potential in a country by way of having good hotels around, by way of working on the roads next to, leading to Namugongo, because you see yesterday a lot of traffic, a lot of confusion. So we need to appreciate that this can be a highly tourism center, attraction, and benefit the country Uganda.
So when the tourists arrive in Namugongo, like yourself, one wonders, is life not challenging for the days when they are there? I can imagine, yes, they are pilgrims. We have not gone to sleep. You are going for prayers, novena, and all this kind of stuff. But describe to us, if you can, the kind of facilities that they have to be able to give a person like you some relative comfort.
Well, depending on the class of people and the mission, some of us can manage to come and sleep on your mat in Namugongo, on the grass. But yeah, those who will come and they would want to sleep in the hotels around, they want to sleep in better places. So I think that it is very important to have good accommodation facilities around Namugongo for those, because now it's an international center where people from Congo, where people from Europe, where people from East Africa itself, and many countries are there. So I think that we really need developed accommodation, developed toilet facilities, developed restaurants, because you see how people the way food is being prepared in different makeshift restaurants. I really believe that all this needs to be improved for purposes of people who get there for different reasons. Because whereas there are those who are willing to do what we go through, there are those who just want some comfort. And so I think they need to be, the facilities need to be improved.
How about the issue of security when you are there? Do you feel like your belongings or yourself, you have some kind of relative security? Because not everybody that has come to Namugongo is actually a pilgrim. Others could just be there because they are on an entirely different mission.
Well, security on two grounds. One, when the president is planning to attend, like I hear he's planning to attend, there is a lot of confusion that you cannot be allowed to drive, that people have to walk long distances because the roads are closed, right off from the roundabout of Chira, the whole of Charwajara. People are walking on foot. They're walking all the way from around Agenda, from Weogerere, walking off from Naria, because they are trying to secure the press because the president is coming. I think the president's visitation becomes an inconvenience. And this must not happen in the 21st century. The security should be able to secure that place and let people continue driving, people continue walking, but that the president is coming, so people should walk on foot for 5 kilometers, for 6 kilometers. Those who want to drive in and out, I think you become, you are coming, but space becomes an inconvenience. But two, the security of persons and property, I think that security has done its best because it's a bit secure. Once you're inside, people are able to protect their properties. But of course, there will always be thieves everywhere. Even in homes, people come and people will always come and attack. So we have a way we move. Even when we move in groups, when I am going away, I am going to leave my property under the watch of sun. So you are going to go away, you'll definitely keep somebody watching. We also, as a team, we agree that we move in pairs. When you go away, you want to go and look for lunch, you want to go and do something, you go with somebody else. We also have reflectors. So we are in uniform. You're able to tell from a distance that these are from Buweju, these are from Tabare, these are from Machori, Lango. So we're able to know for purposes of identification, but also that somebody who is not part of you does not get to you, to your group, and maybe pretend to be part of you and steal somebody's phone. So whereas there are petty thieves around, we also try our best to protect ourselves and property.
I've been speaking to the Red Cross and some other people. Some people are actually saying that probably we have record numbers already. You are regular in Namugongo. You have been there before. Do you get a feel that this time around, actually, we could have record numbers of pilgrims?
Well, the numbers are really have marked pride. We have very many pilgrims here, unlike in the past. But this is a clear manifestation that the death of the Uganda Matyrs, that blood that was shed was not in vain. Because even by going by the numbers of Buweju pilgrims, we started when we were about 27. I have been walking. Now this is my first time. From 27, now we are 250. So the pilgrims are multiplying, showing that the believers are increasing. Those who attach themselves to Namugongo, the number is increasing. And for me, this is good for the church. What remains now is that the government can also exploit this in terms of tourism and see how to invest and get money from this type of tourism. Otherwise, on the spiritual point of view, these numbers are a clear manifestation of the multiplicity of Christians year after year.
Now, as a member of parliament, as a leader, walking from Buweju to Kampala, it also gives you some kind of advantage to see how Uganda is, because you are able to see a lot more. I just want to know from your perspective, in the last 4 times you have walked, do you see Uganda progressive? Because you can see progressing, because you're able to see people's plantation, you're able to see the economic activities, you're able to see the livelihoods, you're a leader. So what is your assessment in terms of the people you walk through and how the country is?
Well, walking on the roadside, you will see growth. You'll see many buildings have come up. You'll see new structures coming up. You'll see that although the road, the Masaka Road, still remains a small road, though it's an international highway, but you'll see many structures that have come up as a way of growth. Whereas you have the problem of economic development, but you'll see economic growth. And so if you take it at face value, you don't want to see, how people are living in those buildings, in those structures. You can easily take it to say, since the grass-thatched houses have reduced on the roadside, since there are now more structures, buildings, iron sheet roof, maybe the development, but maybe this may be economic growth and not economic development. So it may be deceiving because there are people who sell land to roof their houses. There are people who still sell land, to put up structures. So this may need you to look at it from different angles.
Honorable Francis Mwizuche, I want to thank you so much for the time you have given us and congratulate you for having made it from Buweju to Namugongo in 10 days, hundreds of kilometers. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a break and the hot seat will be right back.
KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Amara. We are now joined by the Kampala area manager, Uganda Red Cross Society, Mr. Price Tayebwa. And so, Mr. Tayebwa, thank you so much for taking time to speak to us here on the hot seat. Just bring us to speed on what the Red Cross is able to do to see and work with the pilgrims who are now, I'm told, you have record numbers in Namugongo.
Yeah, thank you very much. As Red Cross, we have already deployed. We have deployed 50 first aiders. We have deployed the 12 ambulances with their staff. And we have deployed about 5 support staff to make sure that the operation goes on well. As usual, we do not want it to end with major issues, and then they do not want to attend to the pilgrims across the different pilgrimage sites. Yeah, so we have, of course, for some of them, those who were trekking from outside Kampala, our ambulances were on the highways support their trekking. We have walked with them the journey from their different locations up until we delivered them successfully to Kampala. And even when they reach Kampala, we are giving first aid care, wound management, managing a few emergency diseases that might come. We are also supporting surveillance for the epidemics like Mpox and Ebola to make sure that we do not have, Namugongo does not become a source of infection. Yeah, so I can say that all is said, and our listeners, whoever is listening and is planning to come to Namugongo, should be sure that all is safe and we are here for them.
You have just said that you are able to walk with them from where they began their journey. Does that mean across Uganda, for those who have West Nile, you walked with them, those in Kisoro, you walked with them, and those in Fort Portal and in other places? That's what you mean, Mr. Tayebwa?
Yes, please. That is very right. We work with them. We work in the release. If a team from Stolo, the team from Stolo will bring them and hand over after around in Tungamo for another team to hand over. That's how we have been coming, so that again we do not have gaps the other side where they are coming from.
Are you able to tell, as Red Cross, the numbers so far? Because, like I asked earlier, many are talking about record numbers in 2025. But are you able to tell?
Unfortunately, I have not yet ascertained the numbers, but maybe later on in the day I can be able to get numbers. But for now, we cannot, because we have in different data collection centers, and so I need to first have one figure so that then I am able to communicate to the public the exact numbers that we have had so far.
Mr. Tayebwa, the biggest challenge here in Uganda are accidents on our roads, carnage on our roads. I wonder whether the pilgrims are taken through the do's and don'ts on how to behave on Ugandan roads, considering that our roads are very dangerous.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it is really an issue, road accidents, and we do a lot of health education. Even as we walk with them the journey, we do a lot of health education along the way. And surely traffic rules is one of the communication, the health messages that we give them to make sure that they know what to do. But also, usually we have traffic officers accompanying the pilgrims. We have the UPDF accompanying the pilgrims to make sure that there are no issues. And I can confidently say that this year so far we have not registered any case of any of the pilgrims being knocked, unlike last year where we had unfortunate incidents in Mpisi and and other areas where some pilgrims were not.
And what kind of stories are they telling you? What have the challenges they've encountered on trekking hundreds of kilometers from their places of origin to Namugongo? What kind of stories do they come with?
Yeah, the biggest story they tell is, of course, you can see that a number of them are really not usually fit to walk, and that is why we usually advise the dioceses that are involved in planning that they should always do some basic health checks to make sure that someone is fit to walk. You know, we have poor health fitting behaviors as Uganda, and you do not go to the hospital until you are badly off. So unfortunately, someone will wake up and start the journey because they are not sick physically until they reach somewhere on the way, and then they start feeling bad. So those are the kinds of things that we have been sharing with us.
And in terms of ages, I don't know whether the people I've encountered with roughly who are the oldest you have been able to see, or even the youngest, and the kind of distance they have been able to cover. In terms of the individuals you have met, and in terms of age, who are the oldest you have been able to see, what ages, and maybe who are the youngest, and what kind of distance have they been able to cover?
I have not taken attention to that data, but we have seen pilgrims as young as 5 who walk with their parents, but also we have seen pilgrims as old as 80 years, also taking the journey of faith to Namugongo.
And so when they're in Namugongo, you exactly what are you doing as Uganda Red Cross with them? Because they have been coming to Namugongo for the last 4 or 5 days or even a week. What is the day-to-day like, and how do you interact with them on daily?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. What we do, we, of course, as people reach here, there are people who get separated from their people they traveled with, so we reunite them. There are people who develop emergency complications, stomach pain, muscle pain, fainting, shock. We are able to help them. There are people who faint from wherever they are. We evacuate them, and we take them to our recovery center for management. We have ambulance services here. We have deployed ambulances, as I said earlier. We refer them to the nearest health facility. Those who are beyond a health center, we are taking them to Murago, to Naguru, Kawempe, and to Kirudu, according to the Ministry of Health arrangement.
But I can imagine the numbers are many, and are you not overwhelmed even if people want simple kind of help, first aid? Are you not overwhelmed with the numbers? Do you have the resources to look after over 1 million people when they get issues?
Thank you very much. No, of course, we would be overwhelmed, but we are approaching this incident as different stakeholders being coordinated by Ministry of Health. We have Ministry of Health on ground. We have police medical services. We have the FFP medical services. We have the different hospitals in Zambia, Rubaga, Mengo Hospital, Mulago Hospital. So we are different stakeholders. So each one is able to carry the burden of the other to make sure that the welfare of the pilgrims is not compromised.
And in terms of accommodation, what have you been able to see where you are? I'm imagining you have tens of thousands of people, all of them at Namugongo for days. How do they sleep? How do they eat? How do they go about such small things that one would want to do as a human being on a daily?
Yeah, I think you raise a very important question that we have maybe not paid attention to. These are matters of faith, but we have the tent for starters where these people sleep, and I think at night they sleep there. So what we do for protection issues, we have sections for women and then sections for men to make sure that there is protection. But the bigger session is really the people are praying novenas, the people are praying at the Anglican side, people are praying and preaching. So I rarely see people sleeping. And as Red Cross, as the guides, we are here to also monitor the situation, make sure that in case someone has issues, we can sort them. But I can't confidently say that there is accommodation for all the pilgrims here. What we have are the tents to make sure that they are protected from the sun and from the extreme weather, that is sunshine and rainfall.
Whereas you are protecting them from weather-related challenges, but there could also be challenges that are caused by man. Because in such a gathering, there could also be evildoers. How do you keep them out and for them to keep on the watch out?
Yeah, that is of course now we work with also security agencies to see that a number of there are no intruders. Next up, see that all the other aspects that we might not have attended to, again, because some aspects are health and some other aspects are security concerns. So what we do, we work together to make sure that at the end of the day, the welfare of the pilgrim is at the center of the operation.
I'm sure somebody listening this evening would be wondering, accessing Namugongo, how is it like? Because people really get scared of the numbers and the crowds on the road and the jam. What is your experience so far?
Yeah, I can tell you that accessing Namugongo is right now hard because even us, we need to have a lot of checks. But this is because of the different security threats that it cannot be free entry and exit. There is a lot of traffic on the way, and there is a lot of traffic in terms of vehicles, but also in terms of human flow. So it is not easy, and whoever is planning come to Namugongo should plan well ahead of time to make sure that they do not miss their appointment, make sure that they are not caught up on the way.
Praise Tayebwa, Kampala Area Manager, Uganda Red Cross Society. I want to thank you so much for your submission.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and thank you to the listeners.
I want to thank you, all of you, for the privilege of your campaign. And this brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Hotseat. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same station. Good night and God bless you.